Commanders family, we have another special episode of Next Man Up. Jalyn Holmes, our new defensive lineman, joins the show and talks about his big sack against his former team and a foundation that means the world to him. Then, for the legend, Rick Doc Walker pulls back up to talk about getting wins and that Jayden Daniels miraculous touchdown throw. All that and more right now on Next Man Up. 2, 3, kick. Commanders family, for our Next Man Up, we had to bring somebody that just joined the team and has had a crazy ride since he's gotten here, already making a name for himself. Our new defensive lineman, Jaylen Holmes. Brother, good to see you, man. Thank you for taking the time.
Man. Yeah, no doubt.
Yes, sir, man. Man, what an intro to the Burgundy and Gold you have had, man. Yeah. Last Sunday's game, you not only get a sack, but you are part of one of the greatest memories that a lot of Commanders fans have up until this point, man. Talk about that moment. Man, they're calling it the miracle in Maryland. That Hail Mary throw that you saw your new quarterback make. Man, what was you going through during that moment?
I mean, I just, before that play even went down, just like something got to happen. Something has to happen. I feel like all week we worked so hard, and then even in that game we played so hard. Like, it's no way we walking out of here with an L. And it's just, I just knew something had to happen. I didn't know what or how or who, but I just knew something had to happen.
When you see Noah Brown come down with that, and you see the rest put their hands up saying it's a touchdown, what is the first feeling and thought? What's the first words you say, man? What's going through your head?
I don't even think I can say them words on TV, but it was my first reaction was to run on the field. I went to Ohio State with Noah. We both came in Ohio State together in 2014, so that's class. And one, I was just so happy for him. And then just it didn't even feel real, but it felt real at the same time, man. It was bliss, man. It was dope.
Have you ever been a part of a moment like that before in your NFL career?
Not in the NFL, no.
Yeah.
No, not in the NFL. I didn't have a moment like that in high school, but was it 70,000 people?
Yeah.
And we all just holding our breath, and then we all just going crazy at the same time? Never. That was insane.
What a moment. And we're gonna talk more about that, but let's run it back a little bit, because like I said, you just got here. Mm-hmm. You 2 weeks in, but you're from Norfolk. This is kind of home for you, right? Like, this is the crib for you, man. What is it like being back? You've only been here a couple of weeks, but what has it been like being back so far?
Man, it's honestly been so surreal. At first, the first week, it was really hard for me to process. Just going from that transition from being in New York with the Jets, and then one day everything's normal, then out of nowhere it's not. So my body kind of was a little bit out of whack, just trying to get adjusted to everything. But being here with the Commanders and how the staff and how these players are, it makes it a lot easier when people are welcoming and doing whatever they can to get you right for the game. So I feel like I've been picking stuff up really fast, and that's just a testament to the coaches and the players in the room around me just always being there to help me.
Was it surprising when you got cut by the Jets? I gotta imagine you didn't see that coming.
Yeah, I didn't see it. It happened kind of 3 days. You can kind of see it, manifesting itself a little bit throughout the week. But I still didn't feel like that was going to happen. And even then, I thought I was going to go back. So, getting released, and then have teams coming offering, and then the Commanders came. It's I think it's a no-brainer. You know what I mean? And talking to DQ and, talking to Tap, it just made so much sense. And then I've heard so many great things about DQ. And to be honest, everything I've heard about him, actually meeting him, he's preceded it. It's kind of everything I've heard would have been an understatement. So it's just really been a blessing in disguise, and I'm so glad I'm here.
And it happened really quick, right? It seemed like 1 second you were released, next second you're coming to the Commanders. But that is adversity at some point, right? Like you said, you didn't expect that to happen. You kind of felt it, but you still have to deal with it. How was it dealing with that? Because there's times too, especially as you go through your career, that one cut could be your last cut. Did you have those kind of feelings and those thoughts?
I've been cut. I've been cut a good amount of times, and every time it's happened, not saying I didn't see it coming, but it's kind of been a surprise. And then that's also a lot of good things too. Even the sack I had, I've been working on it. I've been putting in the grind for it. I've been manifesting it, but it kind of was a pleasant surprise in a sense. So sometimes you have to like step back and just allow things to happen and then receive it. And I'm doing that more as I get comfortable being around this great group of men I'm around. But at first, it kind of was, I wanted so much control, just trying to figure it out. And I'm trying to control that instead of just allowing and receiving what's going to come. And I think that's kind of like what happened with me Sunday, where I finally felt like, you know what, like I'm surrounded by good people. I'm safe. My family is here. My family is taken care of. Let's receive and allow everything that's going to come my way.
Is playing back home, did that kind of add to that decision? Because you said it. You thought there was a time when you actually might just go back to the Jets. Did playing for your home team and rocking this Burgundy and Gold that you grew up watching, did that mean a little more to you?
It definitely did. I got 3 kids, and I always talk about Virginia to them. Yeah. Our dog name is Virginia.
Oh, that's fly.
So, and we get back to Virginia when we can, especially in the off season. But I went to Ohio State, so like my parents never could just drive up and just see me. They had to kind of you had to make plans and trips and make these arrangements, and to now know okay, I got an opportunity to be a drive away. My parents can come up every week. I mean, my mom she can live with me if she wanted to, so, and then my kids get to come, they come anyway about twice a month because they're still based out of Ohio. So, them coming into town and my mom always being here, she get to see the grandbabies. My dad, he get to see his grandbabies. I still, for the first time in a long time, I feel like I'm at home. It's kind of I've always felt like I've been this place and that place, and I got to kind of balance out the two. But now I feel like I'm at home now.
It's weird, the parallels to your career, right? Because even Sunday, man, we're talking before we get on, and there's a connection to the Bears because you had played for them before. But you had told me, you said there's no animosity there because some very important stuff in your life happened. Can you talk about that?
Yeah. So when I was there, I lost my stepfather, and there's some people in that building that was there for me, and they did everything they could for me in that time. It is kind of tough, remembering those times of just being in Chicago, because I wasn't playing there. I was on Peace Squad the whole year, so that itself alone is frustrating. And trying to fight to the top from the bottom and try to chase those things, it doesn't really bring up good memories. But when I lost my stepfather, that was probably one of the most devastating things I've been a part of. But it was people in that building that did everything they could for me to make sure I was okay. So that's why there's no animosity there. But, it definitely was a point in my career where I wanted to stop. I want to phone my agent, no mas. I can't do this. And this is why I was in camp with them because my stepfather passed right before camp. So I had to go deal with that, and then go to camp and perform and tapped. I really wanted to stop, and I get released. So that's even more to that fuel. And then, the Jets call, I go there, and it was like a revamp. They had a really good chemistry and culture there as well. So people in that building helped me get back, and I fell back in love again with football with the Jets. And then I get released, and it's okay, we back to it. It kept going up and down, But throughout everything, whether it was the highs or the lows, there was some space to learn more about myself, and I had to make space for that, whether it was for love or it was for sadness or joy. But every moment, I've been noticing that I had to make space for whatever emotion that's called for.
You go through all of these things, and then you get to Sunday, and right off the rip, you get a sack. The crowd goes crazy. These fans that are from where you're from, this is your hometown, man. I'm sure for full circle isn't even the word for what that moment was. Can you just tell us what that meant to you, the team that didn't necessarily believe in you, the team that let you go, but the team that also helped you get through a really hard time, and now you're getting a sack against them and making big plays, man. Talk about that moment.
Man, it was dope, man. Hearing the crowd going crazy and I make that play, because also too, I feel like I've always, not always, but I've been recently just dealing with just, confidence. It was such a good thing for confidence, man, to see myself hit that shot, get that sack, finally make it. Because before I got here, I missed a couple too with the Jets this year. So it was finally getting that, and then seeing the fans going crazy, and was a blessing about being close to home. my high school coach is a season ticket holder and he sits right behind the bench.
Wow.
So it's like,
did you know that before the game?
I found that out before my first game.
Wow.
And like I see him in the crowd, I'm like, that's Coach Barnes over there? Like, that was my high school coach. Like, he's over there. Like, and he's there every Sunday, regardless if I'm playing for the Commanders or not. Like, this is his team. He's a season ticket holder. So knowing that I can make plays and literally look to the stands to family, that maybe that's not my mother or father or my kids, but like people who have helped me get to where I'm at now, that like to be in the stands naturally. It's dope.
That's
dope.
beautiful, man. And you mentioned your mother, and you mentioned all these hard things you've had to get through, man. Talk about how she's helped you get through that and how your journey through men's mental health has helped you become the man that you are today.
Yeah, my mom, man, she's an incredibly strong woman. She's persistent. She's always motivated, and you know, I get a lot of that from her. You know, my mom and my father, they had me young, and my mom was had me when she was 16 and was still able to go to college and get her master's degree and still do what she had to do. My father was young, still was able to work however many jobs he needed to do to make stuff work. Like, you know, they weren't together, they co-parented, but it took two grown adults to put whatever they had to aside to raise me, and seeing that helped me become a better man, because now I got kids and I'm applying those same things that I learned from them. So, you know, and men's mental health, just hitting that, like I got two boys, and I know how important, first of all, father, how important that is and how that can leave a legacy for them. But, you know, I try my best to be on top of mine, so I can be a great leader for them, so they can see it, and then they take what they learn from me and take it a step farther. Like, that's just the whole process of that.
Yeah, and you're not just looking out for your little man, bro. You have a foundation where you're looking out for everybody and talking to them about how important it is to be aware of your mental health. Can you just talk about that a little bit before I let you go? Yeah,
man. So it's just like, you know, just being aware of your emotions and your feelings. Like I was saying earlier, like it's always gonna be ups and downs. Like that's just that's life, and that's the duality of life. Like it's gonna be some great moments and there's gonna be some low moments. I think in every moment, it's key for us to hold space and let there be room for whatever emotion may be flowing, and identifying what those emotions is. Because sometimes we be feeling a certain way and we don't even know what it is. Like, I didn't know what anxiety was until I got to the league. I didn't even know that I was anxious thing. Like, you know what I mean? And when you can put a name to certain stuff that you feeling, you were able to talk about it. And that's the key thing. Like, 'cause sometimes we think we the only ones that's like, I'm tripping. I'm tripping. Yeah. And then when you talk about it to your brother, to your friend, your therapist, no, I'm going through the same thing. So now we can relate, and now we can have this open dialogue to where I feel safe, you feel safe, and we both can receive and give each other love. And now we can address whatever we're going through the right way, instead of just sometimes naturally reaction or going into this state of mind that, like, I'm by myself, I'm alone. And you're never really alone.
How can people support your foundation? What's the name of the foundation? Give them that information.
Vaughn's Way, man. And we on Instagram, Vaughn's Way _. You know, we are now getting our website up now as well, but Vaughn's Way on Instagram, we right there, and you can donate, and everything goes to schools in the inner cities and 757. We trying to expand out to Columbus, Ohio. Wow. We just had our first football camp this past summer, where we had 15 kids. We had 15 football players, the defensive linemen. Wow. And we went through basically like it was in OTAs. We had film. We also had them create their business plan, elevator speech. We kind of try to hit everything at once, man. And it was really nice, man. It was dope.
That's so dope. And it's really cool that you're doing that with your father's name, because Vaughn Way is your past father, man. That is really cool to hear, man. And I love that. And talking about your family a little more, you said you grew up in that NFC East type family where they all got different fans everywhere. Yeah. So playing the Giants this Sunday, we're going to be in New York City. Will that game mean a little more because you understand how heavy this NFC East rivalry stuff goes?
I actually I was with the Giants for maybe 3-4 months from OTAs to camp. I was with the Giants, and
so a little more to prove this Sunday.
It's like another game, right? Yes, so my grandmother is a Giants fan. She grew up one her whole life, so it's definitely like some bragging rights within the family. Like I said, my grandfather, he's sadly Cowboys fan. But he gonna love to see us beat down on the Giants. So
yes, sir.
I definitely understand the rivalries that come with this conference, this division. I'm sorry. So I'm ready to go out there and prove what we gotta do.
It's nice to know that you're going to have Eagles fans and Cowboys fans out there somewhere rooting for the Burgundy and Gold. Even if it's secretly, they're going to be rooting for us.
It's all good, and slowly, what I'm saying, we keep making this thing rolling. They'll do the right thing.
Hey, Jaylen, man, it was so cool talking to you, bro, man. This was really dope, man. Welcome to the Commanders, man. You're doing a great job. We can't wait to see you get even more sacks this Sunday against another former team.
Thank you.
Commanders fan, this is our next man up, Jaylen Holmes. Thank you, brother.
Appreciate it, man.
Commanders family, for our next man up, we're bringing back a legend. He was on earlier in the season, but he came on after a loss and talked about how much he wants to see this team win. And now we are winning, so I gotta welcome in Rick Doc Walker back to next man up. How you doing, sir?
Doing fantastic, man. We're got a good vibe, moving in the right direction, and getting people healthy.
Hey, man, we love that. I can't start anywhere other than they're calling it the Miracle in Maryland. Rick, where were you at when that Hail Mary touchdown throw happened?
I was in the 106.7 Team 980 post-game studio, and because as soon as the game ends, I come on. And I'm sitting there, and I was frustrated because it was a frustrating game because I felt we should have been up 30-0. And when you've been in the league as long as I've been around it, when you fail, when you settle for 3, you open the door to get your behind whipped. And that's why I was miserable throughout the whole game. So I'm on X reaching out to the canine community and letting them know that I'm uncomfortable. We have got to cash in. Then we get 2 scores taken off the board. Now we're creating our own mistakes, self-inflicted wounds, another no-no. So we're doing everything to kind of keep the Bears alive. And the Bears are a good football team. And then you're starting to think, I cannot believe we get 1 run, defense balled out, and they let their guard down for 1 moment. They get 1 run. And I'm thinking, is this going to be the way this thing ends? And then I keep thinking about Aaron Rodgers and these dramatic bombs he throws. And I'm thinking, this is my boy's specialty, is the deep throw. But all these things factored in, and I'm going, then I see this numbskull messing with the crowd, kind of at the bottom of the street corner, caught my eye, but I didn't know what, because again, TV you couldn't tell. And then all of a sudden, I look at this thing, because you don't know. I do know this. I've seen them, they practice this. They had a plan. And I've seen them work on it. You've seen them work on it. They work on every facet of the game. That's what good staffs do. Our people are prepared. Had they not even converted, they were prepared for success. And when he caught the ball, studio went nuts. Toby, the youngest in charge movement, Big L, Linnell, screaming, it's pandemonium, it's nuts. I was so relieved because now for the next 3 hours, I know that the fan base is going to be ecstatic, and it's going to create a memory. We have a caller calling a veteran in Texas serving our country, crying, tears of joy. The people that have been drug over the coal for the last 20, 25 years, they didn't quit. They may have some down moments, but to hear their voices, man, it's just crazy. And we deserve it. Let me say this. We deserve it. I'm not apologizing for any of it. It's just amazing. And then the best is yet to come. We're in the process. This thing is still growing. It's gaining momentum. And young players are developing. And I just can't wait, man. It's not even Halloween. I mean, we'll go through Halloween and we'll go through Thanksgiving. You know what I mean? Football takes place in November. That's when the pretenders contenders. That's a transition. And we got a shot. And that's all you can ask for. We got a shot.
And I want to go back to the fans because you yourself have been a part of some of the greatest moments Burgundy and Gold has ever seen. This is a huge moment. Honestly, some people's first really big moment as Burgundy and Gold fans. For those younger fans, can you talk to what these moments mean to such a loyal and diehard fan base? You were on the radio, you were taking these calls. Just kind of paint that for us a little more.
From my vantage point, having been on the sidelines for so long, I remember being in New Orleans when Pierre Garçon catches Bobby Griffin's 8 route down the middle, takes off. The memories that come in, the greatest moments. I go back to 72 and watching Walt Garrison get stopped at RFK. And when you see Kenny Houston, Mike Bass, we've lost our 2 corners that are no longer with us, but they were with us that night. And that secondary just heralded these great moments where Mosley's kick against the Giants, snowflakes slightly dropping down at RFK. These monumental moments to where the game is turned. I can hear the chants, we want Dallas. When Riggo came out for pregame warm-up for the NFC Championship game, there's like there's a dirty dozen lists of these unbelievable moments. That now's on it. That enters it. And so you think of how many of these moments did you experience beating Dallas. We've also lost some last-second heroic. We've been on the flip side of it. That's what goes through my mind. How many of these things have you seen as a fan growing up, lived through, been a part of on the field, covering it from the sideline, from the broadcast booth? These moments, and there's nothing like being at the stadium because the reaction on the spot is priceless. It cannot be duplicated. And then the people that I was so impressed with our callers because we got a great relationship. We're honest. They left early and they admitted it. And they ran back in there to celebrate, but they were honest enough to say that'll never happen again. You know what I mean? People would do, it was like confession. I mean, I don't know, man. I felt like I was behind that little shield. I was opening up that deal and people confessed. They were like, man, I left. Dog, I ain't gonna lie to you. I gave up. You know what I mean? And then I heard the roar and we ran back in. And it was that kind of thing. And then the generational shift where these people are wasted. They've been tailgating since sun up. And they're talking to you. And I said, Slim, you're not driving, are you? Oh, no, my son's driving, my daughter driving. Now we got the baton being passed to the next generation. Because the Warriors they've been through a lot last 25, 30 years. It's been ugly. But they have steadfast with their kids. And you don't know how many fathers took their daughters to that game. That was their first game. And now they're getting back into the flow. Dude, this is just the tip of the spear. It's a tsunami. And you get a chance to see it coming. And it's coming because from top to bottom now, you have people that are honest. They may make a mistake. It may not all work out, but they're going to be upfront about it and say, we just didn't get the job done today. But they back in there at 4:30, 5 a.m. in the morning. You know how rewarding it is for us normal folk to hear some dude who's filthy rich, wakes up before we wake up, cares more than we care about it. That's in this generation of social media and me, look at me. When you're elite, JD, man, his parents, I'm so tired of these Huxtables. I don't know what to do. I'm so happy that an old school parenting pays off again. He respects the fact that he's the child. He's not the adult in his own family. He respects being mentored too. It's a beautiful thing, man. It's a beautiful thing.
Doc, in your time, can you remember a rookie quarterback coming in and not only being so successful on the field, but having the right things to say? Like you said, being raised right, giving glory to God, all of these things. Have you ever seen a combination of all these things from a rookie quarterback?
No, I mean, Tim Tebow had his head in the right direction. He knew he didn't have this kid's talent. The key is to have this many gifts and still be disciplined. The key is when you're blessed and you are and still be locked in. Because you've been told what you are and all this the whole nine. He's still locked in. We saw him at LSU, still locked in. I think a lot of it happens that going from ASU, and let's not negate the fact that when you're in college and you have a former pro coaching you, Herman Edwards, let's not lose in the fact that his collegiate coach was a pro who's been an African-American head coach in a league that's one of the more unjust operations on the planet. And if he made it to the top in this league, let's give Herman some due.
Yeah.
Because they may not have won, they didn't win it all at ASU, but in terms of preparation and settling the guy and letting him know this is what you're going to need to do to get to where you want to get. Because how many people of color can address him the way Herm could? Because very few people have been where Herm has been. And I know me and Herm came out same class, so we battled. Yeah. And I know Herm's that dude. Yeah, he's in rare air. Because so few people have traveled and done what Herm has done. So then you go there and you get Kelly at LSU, who ain't no joke. I want my quarterbacks that have been coached hard. You can always tell the guys that have been licked like an ice cream cone, because then they end up telling the coach what to do. We've had them here, Huxtables. This kid was coached. Brian Kelly, he don't even look like a likable person. And yet, you know what I mean? There was no thing.
It clicked. Yeah.
It clicked because this guy's adaptable. And I could tell you so many things. There's a resource over there. There's only one of them in the world. It's called Doug Williams.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
And that man has been over there for years. Now he's with JD. See, this group, they get it. Why on earth would you have a man that should be on the Mount Rushmore of whatever football related based on what he had to go through and how he was treated? He dealt with it with dignity. And you got him now in your building, and you don't make it mandatory that he talks to all your equipment. He's got it free. This group did it. They saw it. They get it.
And I think that's what's most endearing about Jayden, right? Is because, like, yes, Dan Quinn and them, they recognize the talent that we have here and the legends that we have here, but Jayden did right away. It wasn't like it was something they had to force. Jayden knew coming in, let me lean on Doug Williams. Let me pay tribute to him by wearing his jersey. And I think those are the things that are so endearing when you see a guy like Jayden. And then you watch him do all of these right things. And you've been a player in that locker room with some elite quarterbacks. When you see your quarterback, your young quarterback, doing all these right things, then you see him make a play that almost seems like magic. What is the locker room saying after a game like that, after all of these things, when they're looking at Jayden Daniels? As a player, what are you saying about your quarterback right now?
Well, the key is that they're not surprised. That's the key. Nobody's surprised. It's like, because they know he's got it in him, they expect to see it. He just delivered that on demand. Because if you see him in practice, you see the things that he does. And the other thing about it is that you got to give Kingsbury, DQ, and everybody in association with it, because we've seen him practice. That wasn't Sandlot. That was by design. Those players were where they were supposed to be, and the Bears weren't. The Bears were taunting fans, and the Commanders were following the game plan. So those are both reflections of the leadership. The Bears might be on their last run as a staff. This group is excelling because their students are getting A's because they're prepped properly. I'd give the Harris group Job well done.
Job well done to the Harris group. And you know what, Doc? I said it when we started. You came last time we were here. You said it. You said, I am sick of losing. I have been a winner my whole life. But now we're winning. We're number one in the NFC East. How are you feeling now, Doc, about the state of the Commanders?
Well, I'm good because the job's not done, but we're headed in the right direction. And for me, it's week to week, month to month. We got to win the month. All I'm interested in winning the month. The fantasy and the stats people, and I'm so happy for fantasy. I'm happy for gambling. I love it because it elevates the game. And we get people that don't understand the game, they're fans of the game. And it's merch sale. It's a beautiful thing. Once I retire, I'm going to get in fantasy. That's what I'll do, but I can't do both because you can only serve one master. Mine's winning. See, the people that in this, they don't care who wins. They just want their guy to do well. As long as their guy does all right, they win. As long as the team makes it to spread over, under, they win. No. Now, the only way I win is when we win. We got to win the games. I want to be in the playoff. I want to see that pack for playoff game. I can't get over to Seattle. I can't get that out of I'm still hurting over our playoff losses. Seattle, and every one of them is just because it's so permanent. That gun goes off, you're done. And I just, I haven't seen the Mystics, Wizards, Caps, Nats parade, brother. We're built for parades. We're built for it, to have that right here. And I just got to have one more of those. It's got to happen. I've got to see it.
And a big part of getting to those parades, a big part of getting to the playoffs is winning your division. And this weekend we head to New York to face the Giants for the second time. Can you put a light on how important it is for us to not only be dominant in this game, but also be dominant against all NFC East opponents?
Well, first of all, you have to realize that you dodged a bullet. You earned that. But we were sloppy. And we were our own worst enemies. It's hard enough to beat the Bears. You got to beat the Bears and the Commanders. So, and these guys, what I like about them is that they will take that, my bad. They know where they erred. It's hard enough. Let the opponent beat you, but don't beat yourself. We had 2 scores called back. So we got to play smarter. We got to execute better. And I think they will, because they're going to put the work in. You don't have to worry about them cutting corners. I guarantee you, and I promise you, there's not one guy over there that's missed a treatment, or that has missed a weight workout, or that has missed film study. I would put everything I own on that. And they don't have to be monitored to do it. They're doing it because every interview you hear them, every stinking interview, they mention a teammate. They love going to work. And they know that it ends. The beauty about sports is that you're in a short window. Nobody but Tom Brady plays 40s and that's, most guys, you're not going to get that long a run. The hardest thing to get young people to realize is that there's an expiration date on your career, and you don't know when it ends. No matter how young you are, you can be out like that. So how do I get you to take this thing, treat it like you're working with nitroglycerin? That's what I used to say. There's no margin for error. We need to get this thing done. Sense of urgency to get it done now. And once we secure that Lombardi, then we take a breath for a minute, and then we go try to get another one. Then we get greedy. But until we get that first one, we got to be locked in.
You were a huge part of honoring Daryle Green. It was such a big moment. You could tell it meant so much to him. Why was it so important for you to speak, to be there, to help honor a guy like Daryle Green?
Because he asked me to, and I played with him. And I was there, his rookie, playing with him, watching him do things I've never seen a human being do. He's like striding running 4.2. See, when you see it at ground level, we talked about this. Some people see the game from the luxury box. Some see it from the press box. Some view the game from the coaches, the fans area. And there's a rare group that sees it from ground level. It's not the best view. You miss a lot of it. But what you get to see is something only NFL film sees. And there's some things about, because you see some hits that other people don't see. I saw and remember vividly Daryle Green taking on guards. You know he's fast, but don't ever discount his toughness. Because if I was playing against us, I would have just been pulling people at him. Man, he's a Spartan. This dude is tough. That's why I don't worry about JD. People always, he's been that size his whole life. He's good with that. You uncomfortable with it because you can't envision yourself being this size. He's good with it. Seeing Daryle Green, courage. I was on the sidelines in Chicago when he made that miraculous return and leaped and did the cartilage. And I went in and interviewed the Bears. I'll never forget going to Singletary, and I did their locker room and interviewed their players about it. I did it with a straight face, too. I was so happy. But I mean that they were just distraught. So it might have been working for Westwood One or whatever. So I go in, I'm doing both lots. But just to see the damage. My boys had won there in Chicago. It's that sideline deal that you get, and watching players, you know, how it is. You've been there, you've seen it, you know it. It's a secret thing going there that goes on. And guys be in real pain. But they always want to go back in. They always want to go in. You do it for that guy you're playing with. It don't matter the coach. It's the dudes you battle with. And that's the one thing that DQ has done a great job in. And Joe Witt Jr., they translate that. They understand it's the guy's game. And they're trying to enhance the guys to make it the best for them because they've all been through it. And that's a harmony that I haven't seen here in quite some time.
And Commanders family, there is nobody to talk about the changes going on here better than Rick Doc Walker, somebody that's seen so much success and is now here to witness
coaching change.
We love it. We love seeing the good changes, man, and we love seeing success here. Commanders family, our next man up, legendary Super Bowl champion Rick Doc Walker. Doc, I appreciate you, brother, as always. Commanders family, we hope you've enjoyed this episode of Next Man Up. And if you've missed the other episodes, go check them out on the Commanders YouTube page or stream them wherever you get your podcast. I'm your host, Brian Cober Jr. Until next Friday, this is Next Man Up.